So when I talk about how that with the reciprocity project, like nobody cares, and that the number of times I've been dismissed, and like it's more or less like an empty, right? Like it's not being a mean dismissive. Is like people just don't care, right? When I say these things, and when I'm building the whole reciprocity project, like you might be listening to it and saying, "Oh, he's just complaining." And this is, just ridiculous. I want to hear it. It's just whiny. No, what I'm saying is like this is the reality of doing something like this. And it's really like funny because when people see it, they think it's like, it's dead, or, sometimes I'll get, comments by somebody that they'll look at like a title, right? As if this is what, this is how people consume things today, is they look at a title and they'll say, he's just upset with the world. Um, now what I'm saying is like, this is the journey. People will not believe you. They'll discount you. They won't care. This is what it means to actually build something. This is what it means to do creative and innovative work. It is, and you can, people can say whatever they want about innovation in terms of what this is doing. This is far different. The whole reciprocity platform is far different than what everybody else has done. Like building software that currently does not exist, that is trying to connect people so that they get work done more effectively and efficiently within the academic game, is new. And it's very different because it requires the whole system to change. And so, I do my best in terms of communicating and talking to people and making sure that this is, that people know. And I do it as much as I possibly can, as I can at any given moment. And, part of it is realizing that it's hard doing this, right? That's why people don't do it, is because it's hard. It requires me doing this and almost like all of my free time. I have to maintain my regular job, do research throughout the day, and try to do this whenever I possibly can, so I can actually build this thing, right? It's not just about building some piece of software. Like people don't understand that, right? Like I get looks a lot, like, oh, how's that going? I'm building it. That's how it's going. And it's hard, right? They're like, roll their eyes and all of that kind of stuff, give the smirk. And I'd feel like deep down inside giving them a big finger and saying, F you. But I can't. And I have to take a step back and realize like, oh, they just don't understand. They don't get it. When you do these things, it is this slow, meticulous, painful process that takes years and years and years and years. And, I'm competing against other players that have, entrenched interests, and there's a whole system at play. And then, I also get all the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's old. Well, what about ChatGPT? What about ChatGPT? AI is coming for all of our jobs, right? Like, come on, it is going to destroy all of our jobs. We're not immune to it. So I could sit here and throw my arms and say, oh, eventually automation and machines and robots are going to take over all of our jobs, and I'm not going to do anything. You don't understand what's actually going on. And so when I talk about this, see, I get frustrated. When I talk about this, all of these frustrations, all these things are real, and you have to figure out how to manage them and deal with them. And the only way I know how to manage them and deal with them is to talk about them and be open and say, you are going to experience this if you're trying to innovate in any industry. People are going to discount you. People will look the other way. They're not going to care. Um, all of those things, those are real. That will happen to you. And the sooner you get used to that, the sooner you will become better at it. And People will make fun of you. They will do everything, like every negative thing you can ever imagine. This is what it means to be a leader. This is what it means to do innovation. It's a painful process, and you have to be willing to stand up and do it, right? Like, it's cute if you run a lemonade stand when you're 6 or 7 and people think that you're really cute. It's not so cute when you're 35 years old running a lemonade stand and people are saying, why the hell are you running this lemonade stand? You need to figure out, how are you going to deal with that? How are you going to transform and make a lemonade stand that is across the country that pretty soon everybody says, oh, geez, I wish I would have thought of that. I wish I was the one who did that. You know why you didn't? Because it was damn hard and people make fun of you and all of those things that I talk about and I'm very real about. And so what is it that I need to do? What's the important thing? I get up and I do it every day. And despite how it feels, the emptiness, the voids, the snide comments, all those things, I still get up and I do it again. And I talk to you about it. And I say, this is what's going to happen to you if you do this thing, and get you to walk through to see what it means. And then on top of it, like, how stupid is to think that it's going to happen in a year or 2 years or 5 years? Like, what planet do you live on where you think that anything that is substantially important, at least in your life, is going to happen in less than 5 years? Do you know how long it takes to learn a language? Do you know how long it takes to learn just to speak? Do you know how long it takes to learn how to walk? It is a long, long time. And everybody discounts it. And that's where you got to say, screw you to the rest of the world. I'm going to do this anyways. And I'm going to do it. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it. I'm going to repeat it day in and day out. And it's going to be hard. And it's going to take a decade. It might take 2 decades. Oh, well, it's going to happen. And, all of these things are really hard. They're hard and they matter because they're difficult to do. Like, having a marriage that lasts for a long time. I've been married, I don't know, 19 years now. Um, you don't think that we haven't had ups and downs? You don't think that we haven't had a lot of, tough conversations and gone through a lot of things? Like, what planet are you on? Right? Like, have you ever lived with anybody before? Have you lived with a sibling before? Have you lived with a parent before? You go through stuff. And what you need to realize is that that stuff is important. It matters. And the only reason you're going to stick with it is because you know it matters. The hard things, the challenging things, those matter. And you get up and you do it again. And you make that difference one little step at a time, despite what everybody else is saying. And you make that difference. You slowly transform something into something that is amazing to the outside world, where they say, how the hell did you stay together for 19 years? Or how the hell did you build this thing? Like, come on, get real. Do you really think it's going to happen overnight? It's going to be a hard, challenging process, and you get back up and you do it again. This challenging process means that you can stand up to the world and say that this matters. And that's it. Take care and have a wonderful day.